In a land where cacti outnumber cell towers and the horizon stretches further than a fiber optic cable, it's time for Valley's Bits, Bytes and Banter, the podcast that looks a bit behind the scenes of a broadband provider, takes a big bite out of the tech world, and serves up a healthy dose of banter with people in our community. And now, without further ado, here's your host, Bob Dahlstrom.
Hey everybody, again, like the intro says, I'm Bob Dahlstrom from Valley TeleCom, and thanks for tuning in to our podcast, Valley's Bits, Bytes, and Banter. We have a great episode ahead of you today. In fact, you might hear a little bit of noise in the background. That's because we are on location.
That's right.
My co-host and tech guru, Ralph Score. We are in Animas, New Mexico. We're at Animas High School.
In the cafetorium.
Yeah, and right at lunchtime. How did we time that out just right?
Yeah.
Because of our guest that we're going to have on today.
That's
and we'll talk to our guest here in just a few minutes. But thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate that. And you can always find us on Podbean or on the Podbean app. And you can always search Valley's Bits is the easiest way to find us. But remember, it's Valley's Bits, Bytes, and Banter. What do we want to talk about today, Ralph?
Well, you know, it's National English Muffin Day. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Well, now you're just making me hungry.
Yeah.
I mean, now we're talking English muffins.
Nooks and crannies, baby. Nooks and crannies.
Yeah, an English muffin for me in the morning hits the spot.
Yeah. Well, we got a little bit of stuff out of the FCC. This was, of course, everybody, I don't know if everybody's been paying attention to this, but there's a thing coming up called the kind of a nutritional label called the broadband label that's coming out for all internet service providers. It's mandatory. And it's very similar to what you see on any food product out there, and it's really to give you a transparency level with the different service providers for a comparative basis to see exactly what you're getting for what you're paying for. And right now, all the big boys, all the great big Comcast and that, they already have to have it active.
Huge companies.
Yeah. And so some of the smaller ones like us, we're working on it and getting it ready to go. So
and we're supposed to have those ready in the fall. And I always liken it to the nutrition label on the side of a box of cereal.
Yeah,
right. It looks almost just like that. And the point of it is to make it, as a consumer, when you're looking like, who do I want internet service from? What do they provide? Yeah. It's supposed to be side by side, apples to apples. You can compare with any provider in your area to see what you really would be signing up for.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be in a place that's really easy to find. So if you're finding a product listing or a service listing, that label's supposed to be right there with it. So if you're not finding it with it, you know, these companies can get in trouble if they're not listing this properly.
And I know that, like you said, this month, much larger providers are already supposed to have those on their websites. Every other company, including a rural broadband provider like us, we have until October. To get it on our websites. But they are coming, and we'll talk more about nutrition labels for us on later episodes because it really is a good idea.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this, but the FCC came up with this idea.
Yeah, it's like, who knew that they would do something actually productive?
And I tell you, it like I said, it's a way to go on the website, side-by-side comparisons, what you're getting, speeds, everything is all going to be in that one spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're excited about that, actually. We know it's more information, and one of those things that we're going to have to educate people on, but we think it's a very, very good thing going forward. So we'll be spending a lot of time educating people on that and everything that we do.
Yeah.
And talking about technology, because that can come in handy no matter where you live. Say, Animas, New Mexico.
That's right.
Where we are here at the Animas High School. And we're going to take a quick break because we're excited to talk to our special guest today. So we'll be right back. Stick around.
Valley Telecom Internet keeps you connected at the speed of life. Our fiber optic network provides fast speeds with unlimited data, whether you're gaming, streaming, or downloading your favorite podcasts. To find out what speeds are available in your area, give us a call at 800-421-5711 or go to vtc.net. Life moves pretty fast, and so should your internet. So get connected with Valley Telecom. And don't forget to download the latest episodes of Valley's Bits, Bytes, and Banter wherever you get your podcasts.
And we are back. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, to Valley's Bits, Bytes and Banter. And for today's episode, we're out here at Animas High School. We're in the cafetorium as the high schoolers happen to be eating lunch right now out here in Animas, New Mexico. And introduce our guest to you today, who has an extensive educational background. He's been an educator for about 25 years now. Am I right on that?
25 years, yep.
Look at that. He graduated from Western New Mexico University with a bachelor's in elementary education. He has a master's in teaching from New Mexico State University and certification from Educational Leadership of New Mexico Highlands University. In 2006, he was named the Luna County Walmart Teacher of the Year. In 2011, the State of New Mexico Humanities Council Teacher of the Year. And 2014, the VFW National Teacher of the Year. And he is currently the school superintendent out here at Animas Schools. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Gephart.
Let's hear it for Mr. Gephart.
Jeff, thanks for being a guest today.
Yes, thank you. I
We
appreciate
have
it.
some applause from the crowd.
Welcome to Animas Schools, home of the Panthers.
That's right, home of the Panthers. We've been out here a few times helping with, we just did a halftime show recently for basketball. We've been out here and done tailgate for football games, and we need to do some more of that, right, as one of our cooperative communities.
Yeah, I feel like I let the children down when I missed that half-court shot at your halftime show as well. That was not on my resume. I didn't list the air ball I threw up there.
And you did. You let him down.
You let them down, yes. We were all hung our heads.
The children.
We were all disappointed. Trust me, way more people miss that than make it. So you're in good company. We'll put it that way, Jeff. So speaking of education, extensive education, you are very passionate when it comes to talking about education and students. And you, in fact, are working on some programs here in Animas that I would safe to say that most places don't do this. Most schools, at least at this moment, don't do the kind of programs you're looking to implement or have implemented for students here to help them going forward in their careers after school. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit about, and what was the first one we wanted to talk about? You want to talk about the early college program in high school? Which one do you want to lead into first? Because these all flow into each other. So you want to start in middle school and go
You're right.
forward?
And so I tell you what, why don't we start with middle school? Because some of the things we're doing at the middle school level, in fact, the live studio audience here, these are our middle schoolers and our 8th graders. And
Nice.
What we do at the middle school level here in Animas is doing everything we can to help students explore interest, discover who they are, what they want to be. A middle school boy basically wakes up in a new world every class period, right? I don't know if you remember being a middle school boy, right?
Vaguely.
Your brain,
it's been a long time.
Your brain shrinks, your mouth gets twice as big, right? And
You're exactly
I'm joking,
right.
CJ, RJ, I'm joking. I'm joking. I love you guys. And so so what we do at the middle school level is a lot of exploratory type things. The students get the opportunity to take 10 different electives during the year, everything from culinary arts to 3D printing. We're bringing in drones next year. We've done, we have a middle school news program, video news program that the kids are doing. They get an opportunity to participate in esports as an elective. Also, they can explore interest and then try to figure out who they are and what they want to be. And what's cool about that is I oftentimes have parents come to me and say, my kid comes, he's talking about this class, and I never thought my kid would be interested in this. And so it really helps them see, who they are and what they want to be. They also, we take some big field trips, overnight trips. We get out throughout the state, throughout other states. We're even taking kids to California this year. We can talk a little bit more about the trips later, but it's very much about helping kids start thinking globally, right? And then even some of our 8th graders who are sitting here right now, they even qualified for our advanced 8th grade program, and they're even knocking out their 9th grade core classes as 8th graders. So they're already a year ahead. They're on track to go into our associate degree program, okay?
Which is, we really want to get into that a little bit too. But
Right. And so the 8th graders here, we are getting ready for their 8th grade promotion ceremony. And how we finish middle school at Animas Middle School is not a traditional, hey, you passed 8th grade, let's get you a certificate, and everybody gets a trophy, we all win. And And then we all walk across stage and we all
Everybody
get our
claps,
pictures. Yeah,
okay,
right.
move
Oh,
on.
yeah, you guys are great.
Yeah.
And no, we don't do it like that here in Animas. For the last several years, and this is something I've been doing for about 20 years in public education, is with our 8th graders, we do a capstone project where the students, after they've explored their interest, started thinking about who they are and where they want to go. And a lot of the programming is built around exploring careers, not just interest. At the end of 8th grade, they get an opportunity to do a project where they get to choose a career that they might want to go into and then explore what their life will be like if they choose that career, where they would live, what their house would look like,
Wow.
How much their taxes are, how much in debt they're going to be every month. And I know we have a couple of students here that we're going to be bringing up here in a second to tell you a little bit about their project.
Can't wait.
They're finding out that they're all in debt, that maybe they can't afford that $500,000 house and
Yeah.
stuff. Right?
Hey.
There is that consideration.
Yeah,
And
there's a
maybe
little
they
dose
need
of
to-
reality.
Right, and maybe they need to get some scholarships or something. And we're not promoting just college. There's so many different ways you can go. In this modern world, there's so many different ways that you can go, including college.
Yeah.
And some of our students have chosen college, and I would like you to hear just from them real quickly here. I'm gonna call them up.
Yep, come
And
on
I
up,
have,
guys,
It looks
one
like
at a
I
time.
have 5 of our star 8th graders here,
We
and
have
I
a
would just
chair
like them
just for
to.
you guys,
I'd
right
like
there.
them to just say their name and just the career that they're looking at going into, because they've put a lot of thought into this, and it's very diverse. So first student, say your name,
CJ Zasu,
and what career are you looking at?
pipeline welding.
Okay.
Very nice.
And our next student,
Lila Mulganon,
and what's the career?
agricultural teacher.
Agricultural
Nice.
teacher. She's going to come back here and work here at Animas Public Schools.
There you go.
Home of the Panthers.
A future ag teacher of the year right there.
Piper Massey, and I've been looking at criminal defense attorneys.
Okay, so
Very
I
nice.
hope I don't need you anytime, but if I do, I'll know I can count
know
on
who
you.
to
you know?
call.
Bob,
That's right.
Bob
There
and
you
I
go.
might be calling you pretty soon.
Right,
Yeah,
just
that's
you
exactly
know,
right.
just in case.
Aisley Davenport, and a pediatric nurse.
Very nice.
All right.
We definitely need lots of pediatric nurses.
Yeah.
And last but not least, our headliner here.
Isabel Arambula, and I'm going to be a livestock veterinarian.
Very cool.
Wow.
Perfect area for that.
That's bringing it home. Yeah, exactly.
And so the students, they spent a lot of time looking at their interest in this project. They did interest inventories. They then started looking at careers that relate to that, because sometimes we think we might be interested in a career and not even realize that our personality doesn't even mesh with that.
Right.
I mean, one thing that's not on the resume was I was an engineer before I went into teaching, and my personality just did not mesh with that. I come from a long line of engineers in my family, and it just didn't mesh, you know? And
I understand that. I mean, my resume is all over the map. I was a police officer, a disc jockey. I was an optician. So I've done quite a few things, and here I am working in marketing for rural telecom for the last 24 years.
well, and so what the students are doing right now, as they start thinking about this, they start realizing that school is not just school in isolation. It's not just let's do math, let's do English. They start realizing as they go through school and into our high school, our early college high school programming, that this is a means to an end, that they have some real opportunities, and we start building out degree plans based on the careers they want to explore, knowing that a lot of them are going to change their mind.
Right, sure.
I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do when I grow up.
I don't know what I want to be.
I only changed my major 8 times.
There you go.
So they're starting it at an earlier age, and after our promotion ceremony, and friends and family are going to be in the audience, that next week we're going to go ahead and build out degree plans for all of our 8th graders based on their individual interests and the careers they would like to explore.
Wow.
Well, the one thing I loved about what I just saw is you have middle schoolers engaged in the future and what they want to do. You have, in a lot of places, you can talk, and that's okay, but you can talk to a lot of juniors and seniors that don't have a clue what they want to do. And you're right, it'll change. But the fact that these kids are engaged and are actively looking into what would it take to become that, such as a pediatric nurse as an example, that is phenomenal if you're getting kids at that age to do that.
We definitely take pride in what we do. We're not perfect. We're far from perfect, but and the students don't always like me. I mean, if they did, I wouldn't be doing my job.
They're correct.
Some of them think I do my job very well because they don't like me a lot. But we are building these things out with intentionality, based on a formula that has worked over the last 25 years and gets results. And so ultimately, what we're doing is trying to get the kids future focused at a young age.
Let me ask you this: What kind of a feedback or what kind of input are you getting from parents at this? Let's talk about the middle schoolers first, because that's what we're talking about right now. That when they see their kids doing this and becoming engaged and making, look, I really want to do this, and it's not just I want to be a superhero just because it's cool. These are careers they've actually feel like at this point, I really want to do that. I really feel like I've got the depth to do that. What kind of feedback are parents giving you on that?
There's definitely growing pains when you do a middle school redesign like that. When people are used to it a certain way, and then you come in and you're saying, "Hey guys, I have an idea. Let's move this direction. Who wants to play? Let's go! Come on!" And change how we do it and try to make it so that it's bigger than just a math class or an English class and so on. Where, back in the day, I think it was easier to teach things in isolation. Where now with the internet and the way kids think and our young families and everything, it's just... They want more. They look at it differently, and it's not let's just wait until we get done with high school to start the next phase of our life. How do we blend college, career, all of these things? What I'm finding is, and I'd love to hear from parents, but the parents I talk to about these programs seem extremely excited because of the opportunities that their children are going to get through these programs. And another thing that's interesting is what I see a lot of the kids living up to the expectations that go along with this. We have expectations for kids who are in these programs, and even the end of the year trip, our 8th graders, it looks like we're going to be taking them on an overnighter up into the mountains this year. And it's going to be a leadership thing. There's going to be zip lining and paintball and all these things. They know it's so a part of what we do, these big trips that we do. They know it's coming. And I even had a student yesterday sitting right over here at the table. I don't know where Peyton is right now, but he was telling me, Mr. G, I've been good. My grades are good. I'm going on that trip. Like they know. They have to live. I've been in class. I've been in. My attendance rate is where it needs to be. And so it starts becoming who we are. Parents seem to really like it. Kids seem to be. In fact, we just rolled out a program at our high school that I know we're going to be talking about here in a second. We rolled it out this morning, and kids even seemed engaged and excited about it. So there's always growing pains. It's never going to be perfect right out of the box. I ask for our community as we do these redesigns, the high school, the middle school, the elementary school redesigns, to be patient, knowing that, something's not going to go the way we thought it was going to go, but we're going to keep building it, and we're going to keep moving forward.
I think the key is, you said, growing pains. Getting used to something new, and then watching it evolve and turn into something that's really a positive element.
Well, you do a program or anything like that for that matter, and you assess it, you improve it, and you keep going. Nothing's perfect, right? But you look to keep improving on what you're doing. But what a fantastic start for these kids in middle school before they even get to high school to be, like I said, I keep throwing out the word engaged, because so many kids seem, and I use a word for something else, disenfranchised. They just go through the motions. I show up here, I'm going to class, I'm getting my grades, good, But to actually get them thinking about what do those mean to me in the real world when I get out of here, I think that's phenomenal that you get them to do that. And with that being said, you mentioned the high school program. I want to talk about that next. So let's get into how that rolls into high school right after this break. We'll be right back.
Join Bob Dahlstrom and Ralph Score right here as they provide a look behind the curtain of a broadband provider on Valley Telecom's new podcast, Bits, Bytes, and Banter. In every episode, they will take a bite out of the tech world and provide a healthy dose of banter with people in our community. Plus, they'll share funny stories and a bit about what is going on in their worlds. Look for Valley's Bits, Bytes, and Banter on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And welcome back to Valley's Bits, Bytes, and Banter. And in this special episode, I think it's a special episode because we're on location at Animas High School. We're here at the cafetorium with School Superintendent Jeff Gephart. And Jeff, we were talking before the break about the changes you're making in the middle school curriculums to push kids forward to be thinking more about what their lives will be like when they are away from here. But that means the next step they have to go is high school, after they finish middle school. So I know you're working on some things in the high school and have been working on some curriculum changes there. What's been going on with the high school?
Yeah, so the high school programming, starting probably last year, Emily Mendoza, she's our school counselor, I tasked her with providing our high school students more rigorous opportunities, dual credit college courses. You could take your 24 credits here in New Mexico and graduate, and you could take Algebra 2, you could take, 11th grade English, 12th grade English, things like that. We looked at how can we provide the students additional on top of that. So it's not just the minimum requirements, but additionally, what could they be doing? And so she started, Emily Mendoza and I, we worked together to try to build out a dual credit program. And so the students, they had to qualify for some of their classes, like if they wanted to take a college math class or a college English class, they had to get a score on the AccuPlacer, which is just an exam that basically shows the students, what level they're performing at and if they're ready for college level courses. And so we started giving it to all the kids, 10th grade, 11th grade, everybody. Just let's see where they're at, right. and letting them know that what opportunities can come out of this. And another thing that we started doing simultaneously was we had all the kids take their PSAT. So that's the pre-SAT test. And even the 9th graders, they 10th graders, they'd get their scores, and that was great. But what we did with that was we linked their PSAT scores to their Khan Academy accounts. And what Khan Academy does, it spits out all kinds of lessons for the kids based on their scores, individualized based on their scores, and what they need to improve on in order to be successful on the SAT and the AccuPlacer, right? Right. So this is how it all fits together, though. So kids, they weren't scoring high enough on the AccuPlacer to get into the college math and English courses. So they told Miss Mendoza, hold on, I'm going to go do a bunch of Khan Academy for the next month on my time, even into the summer, and said, hey, can you come back in the summer and give me another AccuPlacer so I could qualify for those college courses?
That's fantastic.
They went home, did a bunch of Khan Academy. Again, it's personalized because it's linked to their PSAT scores on what their needs are and their achievement gaps. And wouldn't you know, these kids came back, they all qualified and ended up taking college math and English this year.
Man, for them to take that on themselves and go, look, I'm willing to put in the extra work on my time to get to that level where I could take those courses. That's awesome.
Well, and then what ended up happening was it was a good problem to have. But we had so many kids qualify, we didn't know where to put them during the day. So then we had to come up with like a study hall room with staff members who were in there to kind of help them, keep going, and taking a college course with a college professor who doesn't even know you and could really care less if you attend a lot of times. Not all of them, some of them are good.
Yeah, but a lot of times the classes are so big, you kind of become a number.
Right.
You don't get that individual attention.
Well, and so what ended up happening this year is we had some growing pains, and I think, growing is the key. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep moving forward in spite of these growing pains. Modern problems require modern solutions, and so we did stumble a little this year. Some of the kids didn't do real well in their college courses, but they figured out how to be successful. They're retaken, every single one of them. If they didn't get the C or better, is retaken. And not only wrong, a lot of them got the A's. A lot of them did real well. But to me, that's a survival skill. How to face adversity overcome, right? And so that's
Right.
what ended up happening. And they're not just facing the obstacle, they're not just facing the struggle and then backing down. They're facing it, overcoming, and being successful right now. And so coming out of that, though, this year we thought, okay, now we have other things that we need to work on, to improve. And that's where the early college high school program came from that we're rolling out this year.
Well, and I love how you're saying that, because successful students beget successful adults. I mean, when they learn how to do how to overcome those obstacles now, you know you're going to see more obstacles later, whether it's in college or if you don't go to college, whatever position you may take. This will teach you those skills as well on how to overcome, adapt, and succeed.
And that to me, as much as reading, writing, math, and all of that is important, and it is. That all leads to future opportunity. The ability to face struggle. I'm always telling people, struggle isn't bad. Struggle. If a student struggles, that's not a bad thing.
Right.
It's the ability to face that struggle, overcome, and be successful. If we could teach them that, they're going to be successful in anything they do after they leave here.
That's correct. And you can always point to, there's a million examples of that. Professional athletes. Michael Jordan was never that good. I mean, he worked at it. I mean, he had the skills and the skill set and the talent. But even he was successful maybe half the time, right? Maybe half his shots. He also failed half the time. He would have been the first one to tell you that, too, when he played. So learning those things and when you struggle, what can I do to get better? And to do that, like you said, I think that's so important.
And that leads back to the middle school programming, the future focus, the career exploration. It's that carrot that oftentimes these kids need, knowing that they may not know exactly what they want to do, but that they're going to do something.
Right.
That this isn't just a stopover where they just kind of take math and English.
Right.
So that's where the early college high school design or idea came from this year.
And are you getting ready to implement the entire thing, the early college program, or that's the one you just did?
Right. So I kind of gave you a little teaser earlier.
Yes, you
when
did.
I talked about that. We actually spent the last few months, 3 or 4 months, building out what a true early college high school program would look like. Not just students taking dual credit college courses, but how do we implement a program where students have individual degree plans based on career fields in which they want to study, they want to pursue, and explore. How do we build that out? How do we make sure that they have the access to the classes that they need, the internship, work study opportunities to get experience in the field? Do that now, as opposed to, I joke with people. I tell people that college was the best 10 years of my life because I kept changing majors, and I kept jumping around and
not alone.
Right. And so why don't we start that earlier? These kids are ready, and I know sometimes it drives me crazy as I look out into the cafeteria here, and I see some kids with their faces in their phones, but I also see a lot of kids over here engaged, talking, laughing, having fun. These are kids who have goals. They have aspirations. They know that they have a future, and they're already looking. I have 7th graders coming to me, talking to me about the 8th grade advanced program. I have 8th graders saying, this is what I want to study. This is the degree plan I want going into high school. At the high school level, just today, Miss Adams, our principal, and Miss Mendoza and I, we met with all of the 10th and 11th graders and rolled out the early college high school program that they're going to have an opportunity to be a part of next year, that comes with everything from attendance requirements to grades, behavior. How do we send a kid, an 11th or 12th grader, out into the community to work at an organization in a work study or internship if they can't make it to class on time? Right.
Yep.
If they don't know how to apply for that and that position and do an interview, how are they going to be successful, right? So there's all these things. If they're not coming to school, if they're in trouble all the time, well, they can't qualify for this program. And so you have to live up to, even when you don't want to, You have to roll out of bed. You have to get to school on time. You have to do these things. And so all the soft skills that are wrapped up into it, we put into our handbook and rolled it out today, and they're going to be taking it home. They're going to be sharing this information with their parents, and ultimately the counselor, Emily Mendoza, will be meeting with each student and building out their degree plan as they finish up high school.
Well, Jeff, it sounds a lot like part of what you're really instituting here is life skills. You know, in other words, stuff that's going to carry them well beyond even the job applicant process, right? In other words, what do you do when you get out into the work field, you know?
Yeah, my son, he's in the military, sergeant, Air Force, Army medic. I'm sorry, Army medic, not Air Force, but Army medic. He, when he went through basic training, I'll never forget, he comes running up to me at the ceremony, and he said, "Yeah, Dad, compared to what you did to me, this was nothing."
Then you did your job right. You did it well.
I said, "You're welcome," and he still hasn't thanked me for it. But he will be successful in everything he does because what we're doing here is basically how I raised him, and he went through all my programs in middle school and everything else, and so it is not just about being successful in high school. It's not just about being successful in middle school. If that's your glory days, I feel bad for you. I hope you have a phenomenal high school experience and middle school experience, but I really hope that you go out there and you're an industry leader, and you're you know, in anything you do, you're successful, because that ultimately could be your glory days on top of all the great experiences, right? And so we don't want it to be all downhill after they graduate.
And that's what I have a son and a daughter who are in their 20s, and my son 30. But what we always told them, and I told them, is like, you do not want to look back at your high school days and go, that's when I peaked.
Right.
That should never be your answer. You should always be moving forward, always be more successful, and always learning.
And you also don't want to say, you know, that was a waste of my time.
That too.
You know.
And you talked about engagement. If I could just touch on that real quick.
Yeah.
First of all, not all our middle schoolers are always engaged with it. You know?
Oh, gee, that's a surprise.
They are middle schoolers, so, you know, they're kids.
You need to steer them in the right direction. And we're far from perfect, but that's what we're striving towards. It's that engagement so that when kids come to school, whether it's at the elementary level, the stuff that our teachers are doing down at the elementary level is phenomenal. The middle school level, the high school level, we want kids coming to school with a purpose as we move forward. When they're complacent, they don't have the goal, they don't even know why we're here. That's when you have all the problems. There's social emotional problems, societal problems. There's all kinds of things that will come out of that. But if you could at least get them thinking of who they are, what they might want to be, with intentionality through these programs, and you have the staff to do it. I mean, we have a phenomenal staff here right now, which, by the way, Nikki Peterson, Dave Ellsworth, and Dee Dee's filling in today at the cafeteria. Best cornbread and chili you'll ever eat in a cafeteria. I'm going to buy you guys some before you take off today.
I love a good chili and cornbread. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. So one more question I have for you on all this. How, I would say it's important. It's not critical to the success of your programs. It's the student buy-in. But how important is it to get buy-in and support from the parents on both levels, middle school, high school, and the early college program you have coming up?
Yeah, and it's not just parents. It's community partners. Think about part of this program is community partners offering positions, internship-style positions, to high school kids. And being there for us and working with us. We're writing a $200,000 innovation zone grant that should pay for the internships. But the community partners that are willing to bring it's, hey, we could offer you this, that. I've worked with a couple organizations now and said, hey, you know, we're not just medical. We do a business office, right? So there's a lot of interest. So having the parents support it, having the community support it, having the staff support it, it's vital for the success of the program. And if we as a community, if we put the public back in public education, I'm sounding like a politician, I'm
No,
running
no,
for office.
let's go.
And so, Gephart 2024. But if you get the public back in public education and you build it together for the community, with the community, ultimately you're going to have kids who are not just earning a high school diploma. They're going to have the skills to be successful in anything they do. They're going to walk out of here with industry-recognized certification, vet assistant, pharmacy tech, the welding certification. We're going to have students walking out of here with associate's degrees, 60 credit hours while they're in high school. A lot of our kids who are in the advanced eighth grade program will be walking out of here in 4 years with an associate's degree. And then after they go and get their associate's degree, they're going to come back here and get their high school degree and walk off our stage here, the last weekend of the school year. But it takes support of everybody. It's
Right.
not just staff. It's not just parents. It's not just community. Everybody aligning efforts, the collective impact of that could. That's ultimately where you're going to find your success.
And I can't wait to follow up with you later on this year on another episode to see how things are going. I think what you're doing sounds phenomenal, and I'm excited for the direction here at Animas Schools. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for our special guest today, Jeff Gephart, Superintendent here at Animas School District. And thank you for tuning in to Valley's Bits, Bytes, and Banter. We'll talk to you soon.